Hi everybody, Julie here. Welcome to Hello Monday. Today I'm going to be making a very subtle poinsettia card with a high contrasting background. I'm going to be working with several different stamp sets, starting out with mistletoe and holly, and I just wanted to share quickly how I store the matching dies. I just slip them into the same storage pocket that I store the stamps, and that way it's really easy for me to find and access them when I'm working with the stamps. So I'm going to ink up my stamps first with some antique linen distress ink and stamp onto 140-pound watercolor paper. This is the Canson watercolor paper, and I stamped on the smoother side. And then I'm working with the Kuretake Gansai Tambi watercolors. I have a piece of white cardstock slipped into an Avery L storage pocket in case I need to dilute the colors or do any color mixing. I just kind of keep it handy there when I need it. So I'm going to start by filling in the poinsettias with kind of a mustardy yellow and then start doing the holly leaves. Now sometimes I get carried away and the color drifts way outside the lines of my image, and so I'll just brush some clean water over that and then take a clean napkin or paper towel and blot up that color, and it usually resolves my issue there. I'm just going to continue on coloring the petals on my flower, and I know that I'm rotating my paper here as I work, but I just have, from force of habit, like to run my brush. I'm using the Pentel Aquash water brush, and I just like to pull color from a certain direction, so I'm always rotating my paper. Plus, it helps me avoid getting the flat of my hand in the wet paint and smearing it. So I'm not doing that to make you dizzy. So now I'm going to take some words from the brushstroke Christmas set, Peace, Joy, and Love, and I'm going to line them up on a really long acrylic block so I can stamp them all at one time. And I'm inking up with Archival Jet Black, and I'm going to stamp onto some Neenah Solar White. This is 80-pound cardstock. Now, notice I put the word joy in the middle, and that's because the ligatures on the word joy drop down lower. And in order to fill the gap, I'm going to need to stagger my words so that I'm creating this random pattern that looks, nice and full, but it doesn't have too many gaps and open spaces in it to make it look like it's filled with brushstroke lettering. So as you watch here, you're going to see me shift the position of this stamp as I work my way from the bottom up towards the top. See what I'm doing there? Just trying to keep a really nice, consistent fill of the pattern of the brushstroke words there. So I've seen really pretty pattern paper like this, and I just loved it. And then I was like, oh my gosh, I could make my own. And so I was really tickled to death when I finished with that. I was like, yeah, it looks just like that pattern paper I've seen out there. So now I'm going to die cut the poinsettia and the holly leaves now that they're dry, set them aside, use my Big Shot for that. And then I'm also going to use my Big Shot and the We Are Memory Keepers wood grain embossing folder to emboss the front side of an A2 card front. It's just made from Neenah Solar White 80-pound. And then I'm going to take my new pattern paper that I just made, and I'm going to put adhesive all over the back side of that and mount it very much askew. It's going to be an askew layer there on top of the wood grain card base. And now that I've got it mounted, I can just flip it over to the back side and then take a long pair of scissors and whack off the back. And sometimes people mention they have trouble doing this, but I find that if I just don't open the scissors too wide as I'm going along, it'll help me keep the edge of the blade flush against the edge there and get a nice straight cut. So now I'm going to take my die cut poinsettias and mount those with some foam tape, and I'm going to take the one that's going to go in the lower corner and add a double layer of foam because I want to have kind of a foreground and background effect with my poinsettias there. I've coiled up some metallic thread into kind of a messy nest, and then to anchor it down, I'm going to go ahead and take off the liner papers from the poinsettias and just use the foam tape on the back of those to anchor down the metallic threads. And sometimes that thread can kind of get away from you and you kind of have to it's misbehaving. I got to get it back under control there. And then I'm going to mount that second poinsettia over the top, and now my threads are anchored down. I don't have to worry about them too much anymore. So I'm going to use glue dots to mount the holly leaves, and I'm just putting one glue dot on the end. I love working with those mini glue dots. They're one of my favorite adhesives ever. And I'm going to slip those underneath the poinsettias, and that's the reason why I didn't put foam tape all over the petals of the poinsettias, because I needed to be able to tuck these underneath. So I had foam tape only at the back of the centers of those flowers, so I had room to tuck the leaves underneath. And then I'm just going to add some yellow stickles to the centers of my poinsettias to finish them off, and the card is finished. I really, really love being able to make my own pattern paper like this with those brushstroke sentiments, and I think the effect turned out awesome. There's more still shots at the Classroom blog, and all the supplies are available at ellenhutson.com. Thanks for watching.